What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you all have been well. And today we got another install video or a mod on the Tacoma. And what we're going to be doing is, because I don't plan to do a snorkel for this truck, because there might be areas where I need to cut where a snorkel would typically go in the fender well. So I'll show you what that looks like. So in this area, this is where the hole is for the intake box, and typically a snorkel would start from here and then go along here, but I'm most likely going to be cutting along this and plating it just to get more clearance for the tires. So what I'm thinking of doing, I've seen it done on Jeeps before. I want to do a cowl intake mod. So what that does is it eliminates the need to have a snorkel, but it still prevents all the dirt and stuff from getting in on that hole. And how it's basically going to work is, from here I'm going to drill a hole into the air box, and then I'm going to run a intake or a 3-inch pipe from the air box, and I'm going to drill another hole into the cowl where the air sucks in for the AC and whatnot, and then I'll run that pipe straight into the cowl and then seal everything off, and the air will be getting pulled from here. And then once I do that, I'm going to seal this hole. That way there's no water, dirt, or grime that gets into the air box and then the filter from there. Stay tuned for this episode. It's going to be a good one. And yeah, if you don't like a snorkel, this might be the mod for you. All right, so the first step, we need to get these little covers popped off for your windshield wipers. And pretty much you can just get a flathead or even use your fingers and just pry them out. And then these are going to be a 14mm nut that holds the windshield wipers on. So once we get those loosened, just a quick note, make sure you do remember the orientation of your windshield wipers. So when you put them back, they'll go back on the same way. So now that we got the windshield wipers removed, the next thing we're going to do is start working on these clips, and then we're going to get this cowl taken off. So now that we get the cowl off, and the way to get this off is once you get those two clips on the inside where the engine bay is, and you get the windshield wipers off, there's little clips on the bottom of the cowl like that just stick in there. So you just have to pop them up, and then you'll be able to pull the entire cowl off. And then this is the area that I'm looking to put the tube into, so it'll be drawing air from this area. And as long as we put it high enough where it's not all the way in there, let me see if I can get a light for you guys to see. But as long as I can get it where it's above this lower area where the water would go, then there shouldn't be any water going into the air box from this area. So next step, I'm going to clear in a little area over here, maybe measure out how long we need to make this pipe, and then work on getting the air box out, filter, getting all these connections off, and then we'll drill the hole through that as well. And so just a quick note, this is the air box, and if you're looking at the truck, it's going to be in the truck like this, and it's held on by 3 12mm bolts. So they're like this, 2 inside, and then 1 is going to be on the outside. And then as far as for this hose, it's going to be a 10mm hose clamp. You just loosen the hose clamp, and then you can pull this off. And then pretty much what I did for this cover of the air box, I just left it attached to the sensor, and then I just put it on the side, because this is the area that we're going to be working on, and as long as I can get through all of that, we should have plenty of space. Essentially how I'm going to do this is, I have some simple aluminum exhaust pipe. This is like 3-inch diameter exhaust pipe, and then if you look in like your auto stores and stuff, they have these silicone like sleeves. So I have a 3-inch sleeve, and what I'm going to do is pretty much put that on with a clamp, and then they have like these intake mounts. So I'll leave a link in the description for these if you're interested in finding these, but I'm pretty sure any of your auto stores should have these. And then what I'm going to do is, when I drill the hole into the cowl, this is going to go over it and then bolt in, and then I'll put like some sealant, and then this part will go into the silicone sleeve, like that with another clamp, and then the other side will go into the air box. I got it all measured out already, so I'm gonna need about 12 inches, and I give myself a little bit extra just in case, because I can always remove material, but you can't add material. So cutting it at 12 inches, and then I'm gonna try and mock it up, mark where I need to drill on the cowl side, and then mark where I need to drill on the airbox side. I got the lower portion of the airbox bolted in. I'm gonna mock up the piece, so I have it pretty much set up how I'm gonna install it, and it's gonna go in here somehow. I'm probably gonna have to take some material off or adjust it a little bit, and then yeah. See, I got this part kind of mocked up. Once I got everything lined up, I drilled the 4 corners, and then I bolted it in lightly, and then drew a circle for the center. So this piece will be mounting to the cowl like that. So next step, I'm going to be using a drill to drill this out. I have a 3-inch hole saw bit. I got the 3-inch hole drilled, and then the 4 holes on the corners for the screws and bolts. And then yeah, so that should work. I'm gonna get this bolted on. I'm gonna put some seam sealer around this, and then I'll probably get a coat of paint along this edge that I just drilled, and all the holes. I got the air box, and I got the intake mount on. And I got some, I only had red gasket maker, so that'll do for now. And have it bolted through, and I actually made it below this line because the filter sits on the top, so you want this to be below, because the air gets pulled in from the top. So as long as the hole is, you know, below the filter, it'll still be able to filter the air that comes into the box, just in case there are any contaminants or something that might try to get into the box. Filter will catch it on the inside. We got the air box all mounted up. I got the bolts back in. I left this back bolt just a little loose to tilt the air box back just enough for it to meet with the angle of the tube coming down from the cowl. And then the rubber the silicone sleeve had just enough flex to still seal the tube around here. And then I got everything else secured. And then here's what I was talking about when I was trying to tell you to go below this line, because when you have your factory air filter, right, it goes in like this, and then it pulls air in from under and then into here. So you want to make sure that you can still put your filter in, and that the air is coming from underneath the filter and not from like the top somewhere. But yeah, I'm gonna get this thing pretty much all cleaned up, and then I'll show you how it looks. Here's how everything looks once it's closed up. The cowl covers back on, everything clips back into place. And then once this gasket sealer dries up, we'll have a pretty good seal, and I think it'll be pretty good. Getting some nice fresh air from the top, no dirty contaminants like from down here. I still need to pick up a piece, or I might just make like a plastic piece to just go over there and plug it for now, and then I'll just use some seam sealer or something, because I might have to cut this anyway. So we'll see. But as far as the cowl intake mod, it's all done. And yeah, now that the mod is complete, I kind of just wanted to tell you guys why this would be something you'd want to do or not do. So personally, because I cut my fender flares really high, I'm not really able to run the inner liners. I know C4 did come out with the oversized tire fender liner kits. With how aggressive that I cut my fenders, it's actually not going to be able to bolt up to how I have it now. So because I don't have any liners, this hole right here for the intake box is going to be left open, and then when you're wheeling or just driving, all the water and dirt and sand can get right in here and right into your air box. So a lot of people, to avoid that, typically what they would do is put a snorkel. But because I'm most likely going to be cutting and making more clearancing for these tires, I might not have the real estate to put a snorkel on. So the way that I'm gonna try and get around that is to do the cowl intake mod. And personally, because I don't really like the look of snorkels because it makes everything look uneven. And I don't know if it's just my OCD, but I like the simple, clean look. I don't want anything on the outside that isn't very uniform or, you know, even on both sides. So by doing this, it allows me to pull air in from where the cowl is, near the windshield. So I mean, it does get a little bit higher than it typically would pull air from a stock air box. So with it pulling in air from the windshield, I do get a little bit of cooler air. So in a sense, it could be like a cold air intake, because you are getting really fresh air from the top of your engine, where it's not pulling it in from under the car or anything like that. For me, like, I just like the look that, you know, you can't see anything. It's not gonna have a big snorkel on the side sticking out and get hung up on trees or branches and stuff. It's just everything is nice and clean, sleek, and that's how I wanted it. So, would I recommend this mod? Of course, because if you don't have any inner fender liners and that hole for the intake box is just wide open, you're just gonna be leaving that thing open just for dirt, grime, water, whatever, to get into your air box, into the filter, and potentially into your engine. So you might as well just do something simple like this. It's really cheap compared to what a snorkel would cost, and it does the job. So keep that in mind. But other than that, that's gonna be all for this video. I hope you found it useful or gave you a new idea and, you know, another option other than a snorkel or just leaving it wide open. So hopefully you learned something. Until next time, stay tuned for the next episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the things you already know. Shoots.